Okay, so part 2 of that. Hi, my name is Ines. Welcome to my channel. Today we're talking about some heavy stuff, and I think the next few episodes I'm going to be talking about some pretty heavy stuff. There's a lot of information I've been holding on to that I'm supposed to be sharing, but I'm not comfortable or confident enough to say it because I am in so much fear that I'm going to get constant judgment for the way I think. And this week that has been triggered to the next level. So we're going to continue from that. So one of the ways that I handle spirituality expansion, especially mental expansion, which is what I've been experiencing the last few weeks, is having reality checks. So I have various content creators who I trust because their ancestors, their inner knowings actually match up quite with mine, but they come from the actual culture of where this knowledge started from. And I'm a big supporter of gatekeeping because I recognize what the colonizer did in regards to self-governing spiritual communities. Now, ever since I was younger, I've had weird knowings, I've had access to information, I've had visions and dreams about so much stuff that I have a hard time talking about because of judgment, because of other people's judgment. Not the potential, but the current actual judgment that I get that I know triggers me because I know even more judgment is going to come. And this is something that I am constantly working with and fighting on. But for me, especially the way that I went about it in 2012 versus how I went about it, my awakening now, I was so much more cautious now. In 2012, I had no idea what was happening to me. And I know that there's people out there right now that through this awakening are experiencing psychosis almost immediately, and you have no idea what's happening to you. Anytime you go through either the first awakening or an upgrade, or you've ascended to a different spiritual level, which means you've awakened again, you are going to go through some sort of mania or psychosis, and you have to get control of your thoughts. Otherwise, they can lead you down a dangerous path. Now, in regards to medication and science, do it. Whatever you need to heal, do it. Medication and science did work for me. And then I got to a limit where it didn't work for me and I needed something more. And I went into spirituality because I have an inner knowing, I have a pull towards it, I have an understanding of what it is. I understand spirituality in different civilizations, in different cultures. I see all of this. These are like pieces of the puzzle that just fit into place for me. One of the things that I highly encourage before you do any sort of fun energy work or anything like that is to heal. I talk about this a lot on a lot of my different episodes, but I have an episode specifically dedicated to it, which is Energy is Emotions. So definitely check that out. Emotional processing and emotional healing is probably the most important part of any spiritual work. For me, for example, I'm going to give you the example that happened 2 weeks ago. I went through an upgrade and I went through a mental expansion where I was able to see so much more clearly and specifically than I've ever had before. However, this also came with some not so nice energy. And I noticed myself getting pulled into a voice, into an energy that felt good. But my red flags were kind of, okay, this isn't right. There's something about here that you're not seeing. And I asked my guides to completely cut me off. And I said, I am feeling like I am going through mania. I cannot tell the difference between the voices. I need a break. And my spirit guides granted me that break. The voice stayed. So I knew that this wasn't a voice that respects my boundaries. Your spirit guides will always respect your boundaries. If you're working with infernals, or you're working with some of like the darker side of stuff, like if you're doing a lot of shadow work, there's going to be points where your guides kind of push you and they tell you like, no, you have to keep going, you got this, and they encourage you and they send you life lessons that just kick your ass and you got to keep going. That is different from having voices negatively attack you or deplete you of your energy. And this is where we talk about spiritual attacks. I'm not going to talk about spiritual attacks right now. I'm going to dedicate a whole episode to it because it deserves a whole episode. Anyways, and that is part of the psychosis. Sometimes when you don't realize that you are being energetically or mentally attacked, you undergo psychosis, not realizing it's psychosis. So being aware of your spirit guides, being aware of what changes are happening internally and in your unseen energies is so important. And this is where intuition, discernment, emotional and mental healing is the only way to go about it. If you are constantly healing and processing your emotions, you're going to be constantly ascending. You're going to constantly be expanding in some way, shape, or form. Physical activity is a big part of healing as well. Physical activity keeps you out of your head. If me, for example, when I go into these overthinking and I'm like, I need a break, I know I need to move. If I start overthinking or sitting too much in my brain, I need to get out of it. I need to move or it's gonna trigger something worse within me. Inner child, inner teen, any past healing, any past trauma, you have to heal. There's people on TikTok who talk about like shifting and quantum jumping and all of this and manifestation and all of this. And in all honesty, you cannot get anywhere with that if your emotions aren't healed. Because if you think just love and light and you don't realize that you have some shadows, you are going to be manifesting those shadows as well. And your manifestations to the universe aren't going to be clear. There's a whole thing in regards to manifestations that I have talked about. But if you have questions, feel free to ask more. So how to decipher your thoughts. So I have specific guides that I know who they are and they pop their faces into my head when they're speaking to me. There are certain groups of people whose faces I see as an attack. The energy work I do is nothing like I've ever witnessed before in my life. I've never even come across it on TikTok. Right now, there's a few of you who are starting to talk about it a little bit, so I'm understanding more. But it is something that I'm not going to be talking about now, but I will in the future. But it does include getting a lot of negative energies and attacks on me, so I have to take a spiritual break. Okay, now the next part. You have to have reality checks when it comes to spirituality. Because of the type of information we receive, because of the way that we receive, it is very important that you have space in reality to honor the human experience, to get grounded. And this is where the grounding really helps psychosis. It helps you stay out of your head. And I'm thinking about Gabby Hanna right now because she's being talked about a lot. There are certain people who have the floor to influence people, and they will. It is up to you what information you allow yourself to receive. So first and foremost, before you go out to pay anybody any money on anything that isn't towards your mental and emotional health, don't spend money on it. Don't do it. There's a lot of books about shadow work. And shadow work, by the way, it's very complex. It includes a lot of different things, and shadow work is therapy. It includes therapy. And again, if you need the therapy, there's going to be certain parts of your trauma, of your shadow work, where you are going to need a therapist, because we've undergone so much trauma as humans, as civilizations, and there's also a lot of generational trauma that can't be solved through spirituality. And this is just something that you have to understand yourself. You have to figure out your own journey. And that brings me back to the first part, self-journey to authenticity. When I started my self-love journey, that was when I started my inner child healing journey. And that was when I realized how scared I was to just be in my own brain because of what other people were saying about my brain. And I realized that I had lost my authenticity a long time ago. A long time ago. I had lost self-love for myself. I didn't do my self-care, nothing, because my mind was so busy trying to fit into society and please other people that I truly lost who I was. And when I started my self-healing journey, my inner child, everything fell into place. All of the other shadow work and healing work fell into place. There were a lot of things where I had to look into the science stuff just to kind of figure out like, okay, how can I use the science knowledge of it to work my energy so that it can benefit my spirit. And this is where I say I bridge the gap between science and spirit, because at the end of the day, they're very much correlated and they work together, okay? And then once you do your self journey to authenticity, you kind of start at the lowest level. You learn your self-care, get confidence in yourself, raise your voice. I am still learning about chakras and Kundalini, and I actually right now have a really great person, a mutual, who is helping me through that. But what I see in my mind's eye, and this is something that I asked her because I have no knowledge of Hinduism, but in my mind's eye, when I am in meditation or when I am exercising, I can envision this different parts of my body, different energy points that are mirror image or the exact images as chakras, as Kundalini. I don't know the difference. This is just something that comes to me, and I have to try and decipher what it is. So I go online to people who know this, or I go into books so that I can gain more information. Not all of their information is going to fit me. And this is where I have discernment for myself. Because my brain is so different from regular folks to even spiritual folks, I really have to take everything everyone says with a grain of salt. And I really have to listen to my intuition when it says this is for you, this is not for you. Do not make something fit. Do not force it. Anyways, when I think I'm going to leave it at that, actually. I'm going to leave it at that. And if you guys have any questions, please leave comments, let me know. I work best off of questions, and I'm going to be doing a few more heavier episodes, especially in regards to bringing spirituality back to the mainstream and fighting capitalism, aka the Matrix. We're not going to go into conspiracy theories, but I will tell you this: my energy work is deeper than conspiracy theories. Like conspiracy theories, star seeds, and ancient spirituality, they're like surface level. I'm a combination of all of those, and I go way deeper than any of the information that any of those can offer me. And this is one of the reasons why I started my YouTube, because I'm so different from people, because I connect the dots, I bridge the gaps, especially in regards to science and spirituality. I understand how we need both, and they cannot live separately. And that is why I started my YouTube channel. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope I can give you information. I hope I can trigger you in your mind to be more curious into expansion. But I also want you guys to heal. So because I've done a lot of the healing work myself through the use of science and spirituality, I wanted to share this information with you. Therapy and mental health in our society is fucking expensive. If you are not a privileged with wealth white person, you're probably not gonna have the best access to mental and emotional health care. And because I have literally been told by my therapists and my doctors that I am very capable of processing and analyzing my emotions, and I'm very aware of what happens to me, I wanted to teach you guys this for free. I want you guys to heal. I want you guys to have access to information where it's a safe place, where you can have these messed up thoughts and you can come here and you can decipher them, a safe space for you to feel and to not be shamed into what you feel and what you think. So I hope I can offer that to you. I really, really do. If there's anything I can do to help you out even more, please let me know. Okay? I love you guys. We're in like the thick of it, getting to the thick of it, so things are gonna be messy, but you got this. Take your breaks when you need them. Heal. That's the only thing you really need to do right now, is just to heal. I love you guys.